The unexpected witness, the Galactic Council chamber, buzzed with the voices of 47 different species, each speaking in their native tongue through universal translators. Crystal beings from Zephyria clicked their crystalline bodies together, while the gas-based nebulans communicated through color changes in their ethereal forms. At the center of this cosmic gathering sat the most feared council in the galaxy, debating the fate of a small blue planet called Earth. Marcus Webb sat quietly in the observer section, his maintenance uniform barely noticeable among the elaborate robes and biomechanical suits of the delegates. He was supposed to be fixing the ventilation system in Sector 7, but a wrong turn had led him to the main chamber. The human janitor from Earth's single diplomatic station had stumbled into the most important meeting of the millennium. The human species poses an unprecedented threat, declared Vexthara, the spider-like representative from the Arachnid Collective. Her 8 eyes gleamed with malice as she gestured toward a holographic display showing Earth's rapid technological advancement. In mere centuries, they have gone from primitive tools to space travel. Their growth rate is exponential and dangerous. The crystalline chancellor, Zauneth, resonated with agreement. Our calculations show that within 50 standard years, humans will possess technology that could rival our own. We cannot allow this contamination to spread. Marcus felt his blood run cold. They were talking about exterminating humanity. His hands gripped the maintenance toolkit tighter as he listened to species after species voiced their support for what they called preventive sterilization. The humans had no idea this meeting was even taking place. The motion for species elimination has been seconded, announced the council moderator, a floating orb of pure energy called Omnarch. We shall proceed with the vote unless there are any objections. The chamber fell silent. Marcus knew he should stay hidden, should slip away and somehow warn Earth. But something inside him rebelled against the injustice of it all. These beings were discussing the murder of 8 billion people as if they were debating the weather. Standing slowly, Marcus cleared his throat. "Excuse me," he said, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent chamber. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Every eye, sensor, and consciousness in the room turned toward him. The moderator's energy field pulsed with surprise. Who dares interrupt the sacred deliberations of the Galactic Council? Marcus stepped forward, his worn boots echoing in the vast space. Marcus Webb, maintenance technician, Earth Station Alpha. And I couldn't help but overhear you folks planning to wipe out my planet, the Arachnid delegate hissed. How did a human infiltrate our security? I didn't infiltrate anything, Marcus replied calmly. I was fixing your air conditioning. But now I'm thinking maybe we need to talk about this whole genocide thing you've got planned. The janitor's defense, the chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from dozens of species began speaking at once, their translators creating a cacophony of protests and demands. Some called for Marcus to be removed immediately. Others questioned how their security had been breached. The Omnarch's energy field flared brighter as it struggled to maintain order. Silence, the moderator commanded, its voice booming through the chamber. The human will explain his presence before we proceed with his disposal. Marcus took a deep breath, looking around at the alien faces staring at him with mixtures of curiosity, disgust, and fear. He had never been good at public speaking, but somehow standing in front of the most powerful beings in the galaxy felt less intimidating than he had expected. Look, I get it, Marcus began, his voice steady despite the circumstances. We're the new kids on the block. We're loud, we're messy, and we probably smell weird to most of you. But before you decide to wipe us out, maybe you should know what you're actually destroying. The crystalline chancellor resonated with irritation. We know exactly what humans are. A violent, expansionist species that will inevitably threaten galactic stability. Is that what your computers told you? Marcus asked, pulling out his tablet. Because I've got something your algorithms might have missed. He tapped the screen, and suddenly the chamber was filled with the sound of a children's choir singing. A lullaby. The ethereal melody seemed to have an immediate effect on the assembled delegates. Even the most hostile species seemed to pause, their aggressive postures softening slightly. Marcus smiled as he watched their reactions. "That's my daughter's school choir," he explained. "They performed this last week for the elderly at the retirement home. Spent months practicing, all so they could bring a little joy to people they'd never met before." The arachnid delegate's mandibles clicked dismissively. "Emotional manipulation will not sway this council." "I'm not trying to manipulate anyone," Marcus replied. "I'm just showing you what humans really are. Yeah, we fight. Yeah, we make mistakes. But we also create beauty. We care for our elders, and we teach our children to be better than we are." He swiped to another file, and the chamber filled with images of human achievements. Hospitals, schools, art galleries, space stations where humans worked alongside the few alien species they had encountered. "You see a threat, but I see a species that's just trying to figure things out." The gas-based Nebulan representative shifted colors rapidly, a sign of deep thought. "The human speaks of potential, but potential can be dangerous. Your species has a history of violence." "Every species does," Marcus countered. "But we also have a history of growth, of learning from our mistakes. We've gone from tribal warfare to global cooperation in just a few thousand years. Give us time, and we'll surprise you." The Omnarch's energy field dimmed slightly. "Time is what we cannot afford to give. Your species' growth is too rapid, too unpredictable." Marcus nodded slowly. "I understand your fear, but fear isn't a good reason to commit genocide. If you're worried about what we might become, why not help us? Become something better?" Revealing human nature, the suggestion hung in the air like a challenge. Several delegates began speaking at once, their translators struggling to keep up with the rapid exchanges. Marcus waited patiently, his maintenance uniform a stark contrast to the elaborate garments and biomechanical forms around him. "Help them?" The reptilian delegate from Sorrow's Prime hissed through his translator. "Why would we assist a species that could eventually threaten us?" "Because," Marcus said, "that's what good neighbors do." He activated his tablet again, and the chamber filled with images of human rescue operations. Firefighters running into burning buildings, doctors treating patients during epidemics, volunteers helping during natural disasters. This is what humans do when others are in trouble. We help, even when it's dangerous. The crystalline chancellor resonated with skepticism. "These are isolated incidents. Your species' history is filled with conflict and destruction." "True," Marcus admitted, "but look at the trend." The holographic display showed a timeline of human civilization, highlighting the gradual reduction in violence and the increase in cooperation over time. "We're not perfect, but we're getting better. Each generation is less violent than the last." A new voice spoke up from the back of the chamber. It was the delegate from the Ethereal Collective, a species known for their psychic abilities. "I can sense the truth in his words. This human genuinely believes in his species' potential for good." The arachnid delegate's legs scraped against the floor in agitation. "Belief is not evidence. Their military capabilities continue to grow. So do their humanitarian efforts," Marcus countered. "For every weapon we create, we also create medical devices, communication systems, and tools for exploration. We're not just building ways to destroy, we're building ways to heal, to connect, to understand." The Omnarch's energy field pulsed thoughtfully. "Even if what you say is true, how can we trust that your species will remain benevolent as it grows in?" "Power?" Marcus smiled sadly. "You can't. Just like I can't guarantee that any of your species will remain peaceful." But that's the thing about trust. It's not about guarantees. It's about choosing to believe in someone's better nature. The chamber fell silent as the delegates processed the statement. Finally, the Nebulan representative spoke, their gaseous form shifting to a contemplative blue. The human suggests we judge his species not by their current limitations, but by their potential for growth. Exactly, Marcus said. We're not asking you to ignore our flaws. We're asking you to give us the chance to overcome them. Partner with us, guide us, help us become the species we're capable of being. The reptilian delegate's tongue flicked out nervously. And if we refuse, if we proceed with the elimination? Marcus's expression grew serious. Then you'll have to live with the knowledge that you destroyed 8 billion individuals who are just trying to find their place in the universe. You'll have to explain to your children why you chose fear over hope. The weight of his words seemed to settle over the chamber like a blanket. For the first time since the debate began, even the most hostile delegates seemed to be reconsidering their positions. The unexpected alliance, the silence stretched for what felt like hours, though Marcus knew it was only minutes. The various delegates exchanged glances, whispered conversations, and subtle communications that his human senses couldn't fully interpret. The tension in the chamber was palpable, like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks. Finally, a new voice spoke up. It came from the section Marcus hadn't noticed before, where a group of smaller, more peaceful-looking species sat quietly. Speaker was a being that resembled a cross between a dolphin and a butterfly, with iridescent wings and gentle, intelligent eyes. I am Lyra of the Harmony Collective, the being said, her voice melodious even through the translator. We have been silent during these proceedings, but we feel compelled to speak now. The Omnarch's energy field brightened with interest. The Harmony Collective rarely participates in such discussions. What wisdom do you offer? Lyra's wings shimmered as she stood. We have observed humanity from afar for some time, while other species see only their potential for destruction. We see something else entirely. We see a species that creates music, that tells stories, that dreams of touching the stars. Marcus felt a surge of gratitude toward this unexpected ally. Thank you, he said quietly. We have a proposal, Lyra continued. Rather than destroying humanity, why not test them? Give them a challenge that will reveal their true nature. The arachnid delegate's mandibles clicked skeptically. What kind of test? A crisis, Lyra explained. Not one that threatens their existence, but one that requires them to choose between self-interest and the greater good. Let us see how they respond when faced with such a choice. The crystalline chancellor resonated with interest. An intriguing proposition. But what form would this test take? Marcus stepped forward. What if you gave us a problem to solve? Something that would benefit not just humanity, but the entire galaxy? The Omnarch's energy field pulsed rapidly. Explain. There are challenges facing the galaxy that no single species has been able to solve, Marcus said, his mind racing. Energy shortages, environmental degradation, diseases that affect multiple species. What if you gave us the chance to help solve one of these problems? The reptilian delegate's tongue flicked out again. And if they fail? Then we'll accept whatever consequences the Council deems appropriate, Marcus replied. But if we succeed, if we prove that humans can be a force for good in the galaxy, then you'll give us the chance to join the galactic community as equals. The chamber erupted in discussion once again. Marcus watched as delegates huddled together, their various forms of communication creating a complex web of negotiation and debate. He could see that opinion was beginning to shift, that his words and Lyra's support had planted seeds of doubt about the wisdom of genocide. After what felt like an eternity, the Omnarch called for order. The proposal has merit, it announced. However, the test must be significant enough to truly reveal humanity's nature. We propose the following challenge. there is a plague affecting the Outer Rim colonies, striking multiple species indiscriminately. If humanity can develop a cure and freely share it with all affected species, proving their commitment to the greater good, then we will reconsider their place in the galaxy. Marcus felt his heart racing. And if we fail? Then the original motion for elimination will proceed, the Omnarch replied coldly. Marcus nodded slowly. I accept on behalf of humanity. The choice that changed everything. The challenge was set. Within 6 months, humanity would have to develop a cure for the plague that was devastating the Outer Rim colonies and freely share it with all affected species. No payment, no territorial concessions, no political advantages, just the pure desire to help others. Marcus was escorted back to Earth Station Alpha, where he immediately contacted Earth's leadership. The response was everything he had hoped for and more. Scientists around the world dropped their current projects to focus on the plague. Medical researchers collaborated with their counterparts from other species, sharing information and resources freely. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young researcher named Dr. Rachel Martinez, working in a small laboratory in Mexico City, discovered that a traditional remedy her grandmother had used for generations contained compounds that could be synthesized to combat the plague. She immediately published her findings, making them available to anyone who needed them. As the cure spread throughout the galaxy, something remarkable happened. Species that had been suspicious of humanity began to see them in a new light. Harmony Collective's Lyra became humanity's first official galactic ambassador. Even the arachnid delegate, Vexthara, grudgingly admitted that perhaps she had misjudged the human species. When the 6-month deadline arrived, Marcus found himself once again in the Galactic Council chamber. This time, however, he wasn't wearing a maintenance uniform. He had been appointed as Earth's official representative, though he still insisted on keeping his day job. The test has been completed, the Omnarch announced. Humanity has not only developed a cure for the plague, but has distributed it freely to all affected species. They have asked for nothing in return, seeking only to alleviate suffering. The chamber was filled with representatives from species that had been saved by the human cure. Their testimonies were overwhelming. Children who had been dying were now healthy. Entire colonies that had been evacuated were now thriving again. I was wrong, Vexthara admitted, her 8 eyes focused on Marcus. I saw only the potential for destruction and missed the greater potential for creation and healing. The crystalline chancellor resonated with agreement. The humans have proven that growth and power need not lead to aggression. They have shown that strength can be used to protect and heal rather than to dominate. The Omnarch's energy field blazed brighter than Marcus had ever seen it. By unanimous decision of the Galactic Council, humanity is hereby granted full membership in the galactic community. Welcome to the stars, humans. As the chamber erupted in applause, clicks, resonances, and other forms of approval, Marcus thought about the journey that had brought him here. A simple maintenance worker who had taken a wrong turn had somehow prevented a genocide and opened the door to humanity's future among the stars. Later, as he walked through the corridors of the station, Marcus smiled. Tomorrow, he would go back to fixing air conditioning systems and maintaining the life support systems that kept the station running. But he would do so knowing that sometimes the most ordinary people can accomplish the most extraordinary things. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore it, not as conquerors, but as friends, healers, and partners in the great adventure of existence. And it all started with a quiet human in a chamber who heard a plan to destroy Earth and decided to speak up.